right, ladies and gentlemen, I have the honor this evening of calling this meeting to order. So I'd like to ask if we could please stand for Pledge of Allegiance.
Yeah, I've been kind of.
Pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, everyone, for being here this evening. We have a number of board members who are away for various reasons tonight, and that leaves us without a chair or vice chair. So I actually would like to entertain any motions if there's anyone who is looking to nominate someone or interested themselves in joining me and helping to run this meeting.
Ben, would you like to do that?
No, I wanted to be very clear with that.
Don't all jump at once. Are there any self-nominations?
I'd be happy to do it.
George, you want to do it?
George?
We have a nomination for George. Sure. Second for George to run this?
Second.
Go second for George. He doesn't even need to move a seat.
Those in favor, please
Aye.
say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Well,
George, congratulations.
I want to thank, never mind.
It was a rough campaign.
That's it. Anyways, we've done the pledge, and then we've got some minutes to approve from 10/16/19. I'll entertain a motion regarding the minutes.
I move we accept them pending changes.
Is there a second?
Second.
And there's a second over here, thank you. Any discussion, any changes needing to be made? Okay, hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, please say nay. Okay, going back to scan the agenda, is there any additions or changes to the agenda?
I just want to confirm we will need an executive session at the end for the purpose of personnel and legal.
Okay, there is an executive session then. And public input and announcements, anything from the public or announcements? Going once, twice, gone. All right, committee business, personnel, Lenny,
Yes, sir.
you're on.
We have a few contracts to approve tonight. We did meet this evening. Number one, I would make a motion to approve a contract for Jamie Giro. I'm not sure. 1 point full-time equivalency, support staff, special ed para-educator at Clarendon Elementary School.
Jamie's back in the back corner, just so you know.
How bad did I mess up your name?
Got it.
Okay, thank you. So I would make that motion.
I'll second.
Discussion?
George?
Yeah, I'm there, just a second. Okay,
Got a motion in a second, no discussion.
no discussion, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
And opposed? Okay, hearing none, motion is carried.
Congratulations, Jamie. You can stand up and let us say hello. Second, approved contract for Karen Fout. Full-time, one full-time equivalency, support staff, special education, para-educator at Mill River. Karen, how'd I do on your name?
Karen's here.
Oh, but yes, I'm here.
Okay,
There you go.
so I would make that motion.
All right, is there any second to it?
Sec.
All right. Do we have a, okay. And is there any discussion or whatever? Good. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, the motion. carries.
Congratulations, Karen.
Thank you.
Welcome. Next, I'll make a motion to approve a contract for Shannon Barron, one full-time equivalency support staff special ed paraeducator at Clarendon Elementary School.
And is there a second?
Second.
Okay, is there a discussion, question? Okay, hearing none, all in favor, please say yes, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay.
Congratulations, Shannon.
Made it
Welcome. And then, last in terms of contracts, I'd make a motion to approve a contract for Daniel Velez, 1.0 full-time equivalency, fourth grade teacher at Wallingford Elementary School. effective starting date of January 6th, 2020.
Yeah.
Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Do I hear any questions or discussion? Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Nay. Okay, motion carried.
And then, lastly, in committee tonight, we've been working on a evaluation tool for the superintendent for quite a while, since spring. And we've had a lot of good input, and we are at a point where actually tonight, in committee, we approved the evaluation tool in and of itself. And so I'm not going to ask the board to approve it tonight. I will be sending you that evaluation tool that the committee approved. And what I would like is for you to take a look at that. And so at our next board meeting, again, what I would simply ask is for approval of the evaluation tool, so that we can, and I will also put together a timeline in conversations with David and working with David, so that we can set up exactly how the process is going to work, as well as the evaluation tool itself. So I just wanted to let you know you'll be seeing that from me, the tool. Please, I know many of you have attended the Personnel Committee meetings, so you're pretty well aware of it. But I'd like you to take a look at that so that at the next meeting, we can approve that tool and then continue to move from there. And that means I'm
Did you
done.
mention that we did, as a committee, say yes?
Yes, yep. I think I did.
Okay.
And that's all I have to say.
Well, thank you. Okay, next on the agenda is policy, and would the policy chair speak up? Okay, I will. I have to say, excuse me on my confusion earlier, because I was trying to make sure I was ready for this particular part of the agenda. We met last night and had some discussion on several topics, and I'll run down those briefly. One was the food allergy that we have been working on and worrying about for some time. And what's happened is that we had a protocol submitted by the administrators and the health folks in our district as to how and what we should do in terms of food allergies. And Dave has, and his team has put that together, and we have it as a committee to review. And we will entertain some action on it at our next gathering. If anybody would like to have a copy of that, I'm sure Dave would be, board member would be happy to send that out, because it's still a draft form. And if we get approval of that, then certainly it would be available to the public scrutiny. Anything you'd like to add on that one?
Yeah, what was that?
The food allergy thing.
I know, we're squared away.
Yes. All right, and we had some discussion on a couple of policies that had to do with non-resident students and tuition sorts of activities. And I will talk about that a little bit more at the end here. We also have coming up at our next policy and meeting an employee conduct kind of policy to think about. We had a report from some equity folks, and I would ask, Marie, would you mind sharing with us what you did last night?
Liz Filsco and John McKenna and I all went over several equity policies from other school districts, and we looked for parts that we thought would work here and that seemed useful, and we pulled those out, and we're working on creating a proposal for an equity policy for Mill River that will be appropriate to our district. And we're going to bring it to the equity committee, the district equity committee, on next week at our meeting. And then from there, possibly to a few other people, and hopefully ready to bring to the policy committee at the next meeting.
Thank you very much. Any questions for Marie on that? Okay. The other topic that was brought up at our meeting last night was VSBA has been working on their policy manual, their suggested policy list. And what we are going to start working on right now is a review of the policies that they have blessed as being current, which there's a list of, I forget the number, what was it, 9, 10 something, doesn't matter. But most of those are required policies, and we will compare those to our existing Mill River policies and maybe ask an input from various people in terms of opinions on a particular topic. And each board member is going to review the VSBA policy against our Mill River policy, if there is one, and bring it to the policy committee for a final kind of review and see what changes, if any, are needed. Okay, the last thing on my report this evening has to do with a benefit that Mill River has been offering to employees. And that benefit was to, if you lived out of district, to be able to have your student come and attend our schools. And what we have learned recently is that from a legal standpoint, if we continue that policy, we might be opening up a big exposure to our voters to pay for something that they shouldn't be paying for in terms of education of these students. And so what has happened as that developed was that Dave has contacted those parents involved and advised them of the problem, and left them, I suspect, with the impression that that their student could stay for the end of the year, but other arrangements would have to be made, which is what should have been done. Now, at the policy committee, we had a vigorous discussion on the topic. And what was put forth and approved by the policy committee to bring to the board is the notion of extending another year. In other words, the students could stay the balance of this year plus the next full school year. And that was suggested from the standpoint of giving parents and their students a chance to make decisions, make adjustments as need be, whatever they might be. And we know that we had one person that attended our meeting that informed us that they are trying to negotiate a move to our district because they have so much value for our school system. So they're trying to sell a house and buy a house and all of that sort of thing, and that takes time. So that's one of the possibilities with this extension. Other ones could be working with the student in terms of getting them familiar with another school, whatever that takes. So, the recommendation from the policy committee to the board is that the board adopts this one-year extension on the benefit of allowing the out-of-district students that are, the parents are working here, that extra year. And that would be only limited to the folks currently here. That would not apply to anybody that would be interested in trying to come right now. So, I would move that we, as a board, approve the extension of 1 year for those students that are here, that are, parents are working here, so that they can have time to make whatever adjustments they need to.
So moved.
Thank you. There's a motion by Vijay. Is there a second?
Second.
Is there discussion?
I have, and would that not include siblings either?
I can't.
That would not include siblings that are not in school
Would
yet.
be who is here enrolled right now, period. Anything else? Okay, all those in favor, please say aye.
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 Opposed, say nay. Motion is carried. Okay, Dave, any comments from the superintendent?
Waited on that topic?
Yes.
I think that is a wise and reasonable and kind decision by the board, so I appreciate it.
Okay, thank you. All right, negotiations, Adrian is not here. That's what she's, I guess, what she's doing today is working on up in Berlin. Any other report on this from anybody? Okay. Buildings and grounds, John is not here. Who was there I was there. Who else was there?
Gary
Doug,
might be
Doug,
able
you
to-
were there. Would you like to comment
I
on
can
that?
start. Gary may have to kick in on some of the stuff. We had called a meeting. We had a full load of people there last night. We were discussing things that have been happening in all the phases of the renovations we've been doing. What do we call the first one, Gary? The performance contract. Most of that stuff is done. There's very little left to be done with that. A few oddball things that go. And we went to the bond issue stuff that we were doing, and we're close to getting finished with that. Things that are happening now, there's something called commissioning, and it's not called starting up and fixing the leaks that come through. Commissioning is what they use for getting things up and running, checking, make sure that the motors are all working like they should, and the controls. We had a walkthrough of what Gary looks at when he's trying to find out if there's a problem in the district. You get up on the internet, and your computer can pick up almost everything, every room, every building, temperature in and out, temperature what it should be, temperature what it is, humidity, you name it, it's there. Pretty much that's all we did there, and then we decided to take a look at the new biomass boiler in the basement here at that high school. And myself, who works in this field, I was about as starry-eyed as I could be. That's a piece of equipment that's just unbelievable down there. I would urge the other board members to take up Gary's offer to take you down through and take a walk through what that is. It's just, it's the size of a box truck, basically, as long as what a school bus is, almost as tall as two of them together, and runs very efficiently, runs automatically, takes care of itself. There are issues that could have been a problem, but they're being designated and straightened out. Other than that, we were about, everything else is not there. Is that the right? We did all we had?
Yes, yeah, that's a good summary.
Yeah, that was quite an amazing piece of equipment. You know, and one of the things that I remarked a little bit in jest, but somewhat seriously, if you think about the fact that this country started out with locomotives run by wood, with somebody shoving it in to get the steam up to run the locomotive. Then we went to diesel and electricity to run the trains, and now we have a implement in the basement of this building that could probably run a locomotive with no sweat. So that's kind of a full circle thing, I guess, to me. Anyways, thank you, Doug. All right.
Actually, I do have a question.
Sure.
Because I'm sure my daughter's not the only one that came back and says there seems to be a lot of leaks at the high school. Is that accurate?
Well, what type of leaks? I mean,
Water leaks when it was raining.
We did have a situation where, with one of the rainstorms just before the Halloween storm, the driving wind actually blew the rain into some of our outside louvers, so they got into the ductwork, and it was pretty much raining down through one of the hallways in here. But we've looked at it in great detail. It had nothing to do with the pneumatic system. It wasn't a piping leak. It was really coming in because of the wind and the rain on that one given day.
Okay.
Anybody else? Questions or concerns? Okay, moving on. Community engagement. Do we have a report?
Sure. We had a very productive meeting on Saturday, and we were similar to the equity group, but with an engagement eye. We were looking at other districts' attention to engagement, and not exactly policy, but more like plans. And pretty quickly moved back to looking at our own district and specifically at Tinmouth School Council, which is, we had advisory groups that kind of fizzled out in at least a couple of schools, and Tinmouth's redesigned itself. Amy can probably speak to it better as a school council, and it seems effective and simple and something that we can replicate in the other schools. And so we will, I kind of like to do it with more board members here, and get more people a better idea of what we're talking about. So we're not actually going to propose it right now, but we're just letting you know that this is something that we're excited about bringing to the board and bringing back to the schools as a model of a regular monthly or every other monthly meeting where people can come and talk to a board member, a principal, and a teacher, and ask questions and figure out how problems can be addressed. So there's that. That's one side, and then we also talked about ways that the website could be made more accessible to people and have more board information be shared, possibly by sending, putting more district news into the individual school newsletters that go home with kids or get sent to parents, and also getting board member email addresses onto the website. And that's about.
That was a great summary.
Thank you. And now we come down to the finance,
Finance.
and that would be Fran Andy.
Yes. All right, this is the pay orders, and they are dated November 6, 2019, and they are as follows. From the operating account, $162,718.54. The operating account officials, $2,948.50. After-school fund, $1,490.17. Food service fund, $61,599.67. Total of these pay orders is $228,756.88. And then going over to payroll. First payroll is dated October 25th, 2019, for a total of $581,654.96. And then there is one, there's an extra number here, so I will presume it's 10/25/2019 for $901.76. The last one is dated November 1st, 2019, $16,023.90. Total of these payrolls is $598,580.62. I move the payroll and pay orders be approved as read.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Is that you?
Yeah.
Okay. Any discussion or questions? Doug, did you get a chance to review?
No, I had every intention and got sidetracked.
Well, I fell down on the job as well, but what I will do is go in tomorrow and look it over and ask any necessary questions. And I know that our chief person over there probably feels very comfortable with it. Would you say that you're comfortable with that?
I'm comfortable.
Anyways, having no other questions or concerns, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
And those opposed, nay. Motion is carried.
George?
Yes.
I'd like to brief update on the most recent Finance Committee meeting, and we're also talking about budgeting, so it's somewhat important.
Good.
We met end of last week, and Stan reported as the end of October, there were no significant variations upon which to report. The regular education line is currently under budget by $168,000. That is primarily due to $100,000, which was placed in the budget as a safety net if the bond did not pass. So we will continue to see that $100,000 under budget throughout the year. Special education is under by $50,000 right now, and that's primarily because positions haven't been filled. Enrollment for next year, which is always important in budget building. Elementary schools show little change for next year. Mill River enrollment would be expected to decrease, except for the arrival of students from Black River Academy. Right now, that's estimated to be 18, maybe to 20. As of October 15th, students at Black River Academy were asked to make a commitment to what school they wanted to select. Only 20% of them by that time had voiced an opinion. We speculate that the students and their families are all waiting to see if the Black River Academy will be a privately led school next year. So that number between 18 and 20 could increase, but we are not, we're going to stay with that in our budget writing. For the bond from 2018 at currently $563,000 remains in that, but that is primarily due to holding retainers. And the energy bond, after retainers are paid, will have a negative balance of $50,534. That overage will be paid out of the sinking fund. After we discussed the budget, the current financials, we went on to looking at and discussing the budget for next year. Dave handed out a lengthy list of priorities that were broken into 5 groups. The highest priorities are as follows: increase in 2 school counselors district-wide, part-time pre-kindergarten coordinator, part-time district-wide arts coordinator, for Mill River, social emotional behavior specialist, for Mill River, staffing related to in-school suspension, and an increase in in the district-wide psychologist. Now, there are quite a few others, but that's a quick summary. To give everybody a sense of what we're looking at. At the next meeting of the Finance Committee, which will be November 25th, Dave and Stan will present us with the first draft of the budget. This will include increases such as health insurance, our best estimate of salary and wages. And once the committee has a chance to review that, see what the budget looks like, we'll then turn back and look at the priorities which Dave has listed and see what fits in there best. Several committee members reported they have heard from taxpayers that the taxpayers do not want to see a significant increase in the next budget, and we are well aware of that, and we'll be taking that into consideration as we move on the budget. So, again, end of November, looking at the first draft, with the goal of getting the budget wrapped up and to the board by end of December, but we never know how it plays out. We shall see. That's it.
And you put some material online, I just noticed this afternoon.
I sent the full list of priorities out to the board members for them to review, yes.
Okay, thank you. Anything,
And
any questions?
I'll send you those notes tomorrow.
Any questions from anybody? Okay, thank you, Andy.
Certainly.
All right, central office reports. Dave?
Principal updates first?
Oh, we can do that.
Yeah, let's do that first.
We have some principals out there. I can recognize them. I see one way in the back, and I think he's napping, but I'm not sure. Tyler, you want to go first?
Sure, never fails. Okay, so going back a little bit in time, about 3 weeks ago, I'm staying up because tall guy here is blocking me.
Yeah, my daughter.
But going back 3 weeks ago, we had the PSATs in our building, and all of our sophomores and juniors took that test. Approximately 120 students took that test that day. It's the first time we've ever done this where it's both grades, and also our freshmen during that time did community service projects around the community, our various elementary schools, and then our seniors did some college and career readiness activities for that morning. So overall, it was a really good day, and something we're going to look to grow upon in the coming years as students continue to take that test and then tweak what the freshmen and seniors take part in. On, let's see, on the nice weather we had for Halloween, our students participated in a trunk or treat. So basically what that was, our Student Government Association, our upperclassmen put on a trunk or treat for our middle school students, where they went out, basically students decorated cars. We had some community members come in, decorate cars, National Guard, police, what have you, the sheriffs, and the regional ambulance come in, decorate their vehicles. And then in the afternoon, the kids had, the middle school kids had an in-school dance for that. As you may know, our boys varsity soccer team went to the state finals last weekend. Unfortunately, it did not work out the way we'd want them to, but they played an amazing game, and we had a huge fan section at that game. We easily doubled that of the other team, so it was really great. We sent a fan bus. We had about 38 students on the fan bus, so it was really a great showing for our kids. Then going back to present time, tonight we actually have our counselors and Jen McLemore, our assistant principal, are at Rutland Town School for their info night, for choice night, if you will. You know, they're basically talking to kids about Mill River and you know, seeing if we can spark some kids that come here from their graduating class, their 8th grade class. This Friday we have ASVAB testing going on in the building for students who are interested in potentially going to the military. Let's see what else. Next Thursday night, we have a proficiency-based grading requirements night for potentially for juniors and seniors to come to. Basically, it's a information night for parents in terms of how proficiency-based grading fits into getting into college and applying for college and what have you. So that's going to be something that Andrew and I are tackling for that night. Also, we have a representative from Castleton coming to talk about what they are looking for in college or high school transcripts, for also with that lens of a proficiency-based system. Also, let's see, next Friday we've under our VSAC Gear Up grant, we have a premier bus with I believe about 25 students going to Albany, and they're going on a college trip. So essentially, they're going to visit 3 different colleges within the greater Albany area, and again, have something put together by our counselors and that grant we have through VSAC. Let's see what else. Coming up 2.5 weeks from now is our stage 40 fall show. Peter and the Starcatcher, which they were rehearsing with earlier today. So that's their first show. And then looking way down the line, winter sports. They start the Monday after Thanksgiving.
Thank you very much. Who wants to go first or next? Well, let's start with Fred. He's smiling there. He must be happy. Hey, Fred, why don't you say a few words about how the advisory committee and the parent group, how that's working out right now?
Okay, well, we were very active with our advisory committee, meeting more than we needed to probably, and we came up with a bunch of goals, and a few of the goals are coming to fruition, one of them being the walking trail in the community complex. Our PTO working in conjunction with the school. Also, I'd like to thank them. They put together the trunk or treat. Our weather wasn't so good because we did it on Friday, so we were inside the gym. The question with the kids was, how are we going to get the cars inside? Ended up decorating tables instead, of course. That went really well. Also like to thank the high school for sending the freshmen over. We've been wrestling with our nature trail for quite some time, and having all those hands with all those clippers come over and just cleared out the trail so we can see the stations, so we can actually go out there and use that as an educational venue. So we thank them for that. That was great. What we're trying to do is add our activities throughout the year, be health and wellness related, and kind of replacing our 5 ski days that we had. We've already hiked a couple of different times. We've got some bowling scheduled. We've got skating scheduled. So we have a number of activities that we're going to do throughout the year to give the kids something active to do. We just came off of our Red Ribbon Week in conjunction with our Spirit Week, where each day there was a message, anti-drug, non-substance message, but also a fun day with sunglasses or crazy hair or, Clarendon colors. So that was a great week. We just came off of that. Academically, we're in the midst of doing some of our second round STAR testing, and the results are coming back very, very well. So we're excited about that as well. I think that's it.
Thank you. Well, let's go to that elementary school that can be legitimately be called a high school in Shrewsbury. Jody?
Oh, your puns always wake me up, George.
I hope so.
So we too had a great trunk or treat celebration sponsored by our PTO. The kids love it every single year, with a costume parade and a little party, with healthy foods, of course, because we are a sustainability education school. Speaking of, on our most recent release day, Shelburne Farm staff came back to meet with the Shrewsbury Mountain School staff, and we focused on place-based learning, so understanding how to connect our learning to the physical location of where we are. My teachers are all working together on some exciting projects for kids around really understanding place and the special place that Shrewsbury is. Our community lunch speaker program is still going really strong, so that's a program by which we invite community members just to come in and talk about something they're passionate about with kids while the kids eat. We like to point out to the kids that grown-ups pay a lot of money to eat luncheons while experts speak to them, and the kids really love it. So recently we had Jason Smith, who is an environmental scientist, and Gary Salmon, who is a well-known forester, both come in and speak to the kids. Upcoming, we have Alistair Stout coming, and Gretchen Gould will be actually throwing a pot while the kids are eating. We will be having a community Thanksgiving luncheon coming up because Thanksgiving is suddenly really coming upon us. We are planning an all-school ice skating trip sponsored by the PTO for right before the December break. It's pretty much all going on up on the hill. We're getting ready for the snow though, George.
Are you gonna just kind of drift into that?
George, Jody had a big personal day yesterday. Jody, you wanted to share a quick family tidbit?
Sure. So yesterday, my husband Sean and I adopted our third child, Catalea, from the foster care system. So we officially have 3 kids.
Excellent, excellent. No greater reward.
No, she's a good time.
Do I have everybody that's here, or did I miss somebody?
Colin's under the weather tonight. Maureen is under the weather tonight, so we are.
Guess we need we gotta get the weather changed, by golly, that's all there is to it.
It's changing.
Now I think we're at central office reports.
Yes, sir.
Unless I skipped it.
My report, I largely focused on finance, as you saw. Andy did a fantastic job of walking through that, so so I'd like to defer and let Brian get going with this.
Where's Brian? Oh, there he is.
Things are rolling along, but I'm most excited about meeting with the board at your next board meeting to talk a little bit more about the multi-tiered systems of support work that we've been doing. I know that's a phrase that we throw out a lot sometimes, so diving deeply into what exactly that is and how that helps our students and how it shifts the conversation to helping all our students, I'm excited about that. Questions for me on anything?
Thank you. And who's next on the list? I see Coral back there.
I put it in my report, but the special ed service plan was accepted by the Agency of Education, so pretty excited about that. That version of the special ed budget does reflect increases for next year, but most of those are largely the result of rising insurance costs. So, also, I expect I'm going to keep the personnel committee pretty busy. I am doing a lot of hiring right now. We are working to try to fill the opening for a special education teacher at Wallingford, and we are having to sort of patch in some supports to make those services come together at the current time. So you'll probably you saw 3 candidates from me tonight. You'll probably see more in the coming weeks.
Thank you. And where's the other? There he is. The gentleman with the wood furnace.
I really don't have much to add to what Doug has already stated under the Buildings and Grounds Committee report. There's a few more details in the written document, but I'll be happy to answer any questions anybody has.
Any questions for Gary? Okay, thank you. And where's the other fellow down there? What's your name again? Come on.
Mr. Polosic.
Yeah. Anyways, I hope your report adds up.
Well, again, Andy did a great job of summarizing what was discussed at the finance meeting, and that was what you saw in the report that was sent to you. The only thing I will add is that we did have our annual audit last week. What was confirmed was the fund balance that we ended up with last year. There will be no change to that number, which is, at the end of last year, was $1,480,190. And there will be some topics to discuss that, the auditors on their exit interview had offered suggestions that we could do as a district. We can discuss that at a later date at a finance meeting, because there may be some things, that do make sense for our district to do, others that would come with some controversy. So that can be discussed when they come out with their official management letter at our finance meeting. And again, to confirm, there was no monetary findings in the audit. Everything will stay the same as of June 30th, 2019 as to what we reported. In regards to, we did do our high school tuition billing. The initial billing shows us having 6 more students than what we budgeted. I mean, that looks good right now, but unfortunately, the case these days is kids do come and go, so that number will fluctuate throughout the school year. And that's basically all I have to say. Oh, in regards to the lunch program, I mean, we seem to be in order to get something out that makes sense to you. That usually comes in probably around the end of November, where we have some real solid numbers. So hopefully, the next board meeting or the first one in December, we'll have how we're doing with the lunch program for the first 3 months of the year. And that's it. Do you have any questions in regards to the report I sent out?
Any questions for Stan? Thank you, Stan, your usual good report. Thank you very much. Now, we're on to resolution discussion from the VSBA. And we have a speaker here that's willing to share with us the resolutions. And then maybe we can take some action on it, sir?
Yeah, so that's not what I was told I would have to do. I'll do my best. So context. VSA, VSBA conference is tomorrow and Friday of this week. Both of those organizations have their annual meetings tomorrow around like 4 o'clock, 4:30, somewhere in that ballpark. I know that Adrian and Maria are both going to be at the meetings tomorrow. And part of the VSBA process is they have a resolution process where boards like ours can come up with proposals for resolutions. They get submitted, the VSBA board reviews those, and they come up with recommendations for whether or not those proposals should be accepted or rejected by the organization. And they use those resolutions to inform legislative action and that type of thing. There's a link in the agenda. I think that link is flawed because it has a backslash at the end that I think prevents it from working. But if you go to the VSBA website on the front page, you can find a link to the specific proposed resolutions. What Adrian asked me to do was just gather insight and input from the board if there was specific feedback on any of those that would cause us to not be in support of the recommended action. So I guess what I'll do is I'll read through these and I'll tell you what the recommendation is, and then we can take it from there if somebody wants to speak in more depth about something. Ultimately, I believe that Adrian would like to be able to vote on behalf of our board, expressing our board sentiments in terms of our vote. So the resolutions, there are 11 of them. The first one actually was submitted by our district, had to do with replacing paper towels with hand dryers. And the board's recommendation is that the VSBA not pass that one. I just want you to be aware of that. The second proposed resolution is from River Valley Tech Center, and it's about social services and education funding. The recommendation from the board on that is do not pass. And again, if you want the detail on these, they're all on that website, pretty wordy. Third proposal is from Rutland Town about maintaining current SU governance language. The board's recommendation for that is do not pass. Fourth proposal is from Addison Northwest. It has to do with state mandates and timely and reliable information and implementation. The recommendation on that, I apologize, this takes more time, is to pass that proposed resolution. Fifth is from Marlboro, Dummerston, and Brattleboro Town, has to do with school construction aid. The VSBA board's recommendation on that proposal is that it be passed. Sixth proposal is also from Marlboro, Dummerston, and Brattleboro Town, has to do with environmental impact. Recommendation is pass. Seventh is from the Meadowee District, has to do with the dual enrollment program. And the recommendation for that one is a pass. We're getting there. Eighth is from West Windsor, as is the ninth. The eighth has to do with the state ceasing to come up with mandates that are unfunded, and the ninth having to do with the state ceasing to add non-education items to the ed fund. Recommendation from the board on both of those is Do not pass on the unfunded mandates one, and do not pass on the non-education items to the ed fund. So obviously, those sound logical by title. There must be something in the language that the VSBA board doesn't agree with. 10th and 11th, getting to the end, both from Washington Central. 10th is about monitoring outcomes from Act 46 goals, and 11th is about fairly distributing pre-existing debt for forced Act 46 mergers. And the recommendation for those on the 10th proposal is to pass, and the 11th proposal is to pass. So, Mr. Acting Chair, I think it makes sense to, if there are any comments or questions that folks, or discussion folks want to have about any of those individual things, and then you could either accept a board motion to support the full slate as recommended by the board, or we could go on a resolution by resolution basis.
Well, okay, first off, any comments or additions or whatever?
Yeah, I'm gonna, one of my favorite refrains is, having seen this for the first time, I'm not ready to, I will not take a vote on it. I'm a little frustrated that it comes at this time.
That's fair.
And that was my question. When do these usually get published?
So I can't speak for the VSBA and what their timing is. I'm not sure specifically. If I go to the website, please bear with me. I'll tell you what, Amy, while you're having a discussion, I'll try to find the email that I first saw this. And then
Okay. Yeah, that'd be helpful.
Okay, and again, we can either vote to support the whole slate or to take them individually. Does anybody have any notions about that? Or not support it either way, however the vote goes. Should we do it as a group, or do you want to take it individually? So I'll ask the question again. How many would like to do it as a group? Okay, how many would like to do it individually? How many don't care?
Well, I like Andy, I feel like I don't know enough about these, and the recommendation doesn't come with any explanation about why it's supporting it, why it's not supporting it. So I just don't think we have enough information to make a decision.
The other possibility is that we could charge Adrian with this responsibility. I'm not sure that's fair either, but of deciding what should be done or not done.
I don't like that.
I don't either, but.
I would just say not vote,
Okay.
but I don't know how everybody else, that's my opinion.
You want to put that in the form of a motion, or?
Sure, I move that we not vote on these because of lack of time to review them, yes.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Okay. Any other discussion? Speak now or forever be quiet. Okay. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? I guess we're done.
Fair enough.
All right, transact other legal business. What do we got? Anybody?
Ask
Yeah.
yourself.
Oh, I've got some. Ask yourself. Okay. Well, in the past board meetings, I've taken an opportunity to say good job and to various folks. And I have a person tonight that I want to do that for. I may have done it before, so they'll just have to suffer having a second one if I have done it before. This individual reminds me a lot of that bunny that we see on the commercials, has the batteries. What is his name? Energizer Bunny? Person, and I'm sure you would all agree with me, is a very hardworking, fast-moving person that covers a lot of bases, does an excellent job of it, and is a very valuable member of our district. Aren't you, Brian?
Some days, maybe.
So I would like to give a little round of applause for Brian. The other transact other legal business. I shared this with some folks, but some of you missed it. If you ever get locked out of your house and you're worried about it, have a little conversation with your lock, because remember, communication is key. I'm done. And next thing on the agenda is agenda building.
George, one question.
Sure.
Len, are we any closer to determining whether we're going to have student representatives of the board anytime soon?
I haven't heard anything.
Yeah, if you like, I did put that out to our junior and senior classes as to if they have some parameters that we've discussed in the past as to if they would like to apply for that, and I really have heard nothing. I do consistently talk to our current school board member, student school board member, Kelsey Sheehy. A lot of times it's athletics or something else that really impedes her from coming. But she does, usually it's the day after, she'll come up to me and say, I apologize if there was something going on. But there has been some time that's passed since then, since I've gotten the meetings we had where I didn't really get much response. I'll bring it up again, see where we can go with it. It was just something that when we talked to the entire class, again, like I said, there wasn't really any response that I did receive.
Thank you. Thanks. Okay, any other legal business? Okay. Agenda building. We may have some documents from policy to discuss and maybe even some to bless. Probably won't be any policy for first reading at this point.
We'll probably have the superintendent evaluation tool.
Yep.
For approval by the full board.
Yep, that sounds good.
We'll have a 6 o'clock board professional development session. We talked
Yep.
about scheduling that in the hour beforehand.
Yep. And where are we going to be next time?
We actually are here at Mill River.
Okay.
It's our turn for Mill River to be our hosts.
And Mill River is going to have a program for us?
Yes, we will.
Okay, thank you.
Singing and dancing, I believe, is what Tyler promised.
Well, that's good.
Not by me.
Anything else? Okay, I guess we've covered it all. I'll entertain a motion for an executive session for the purpose of
Legal and personnel.
legal and personnel.
So moved.
And a second, please.
I'll second.
Thank you very much. And we go back to the
Sure thing.
corner room. Excellent.